Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our iOS development using AppKit tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can create multiple sections in our UI collection views using the UICollectionViewDiffableDataSource. Now, previously we took a look at how we can use one section with our diffable data source in order to learn how diffable data sources actually work. Well, maybe in your application you need your data to be separated into sections. Like, for example, if you have an app that is displaying a bunch of colors, maybe you want to separate those colors between dynamic colors, as in colors that dynamically change based on light or dark mode, and then have static colors that don't adapt in a different section. That is what we're going to build today. So if we take a look in our application that we have to start with, I have a collection view with a bunch of color swatches. And then we have a text view beneath those color swatches indicating the name of the color. So these cells were built in SwiftUI, nothing too complicated. We've already covered how to build cells in the traditional way and with SwiftUI using the content configuration on UI collection view cell. So this should be nothing new to you by now. However, we are using a diffable data source to populate our collection view here. And if you haven't watched the video on how to create a collection view using a UI collection view diffable data source, you should watch that video first, because I'm not going to go through how we created the diffable data source and how it works in depth. You need to watch the previous video on the topic of diffable data sources with collection views if you want that in-depth explanation. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's open Xcode. And the first thing that we need to do to create multiple sections is to modify our section enumeration. We can leave the type aliases alone. We don't need to modify them at all. So inside of our enum, we only have one case, and that is our case main. However, we're going to get rid of our main case. And then to replace the main case, we're going to say static colors, comma, dynamic colors, like that. So now that we have two cases inside of our enum, instead of just the main case, which we've gotten rid of, Xcode is going to yell at us because we're using the main case elsewhere in this view controller extension. Let's go ahead and change that. So our make data source method can be left alone. We don't need to make any changes there. Next, we have our apply snapshot method after our make data source method. And here is where we need to make some changes. So we are creating a snapshot object. That's great. However, what we need to do here is, to start with, we need to create two new constants inside of this method. And these constants are going to represent a filtered version of our colors array inside of our main view controller, where the first is going to have only static colors, and then the second method, the second constant, is going to contain all of the dynamic colors, the colors that can adapt to light and dark modes. And we can achieve this really easily in a single line with the filter method on an array. So we'll say let static colors equals colors.filter $0.type equals, and then we want this to be, we want the type of the current color in the iteration of filter to, we want to test for equality with the dot static colors. Dot not dynamic. There we go. Next, we'll say let dynamic colors equals colors.filter $0.type is equal to dot dynamic. All right, now that we have the items for both of our sections, now, of course, if you don't know how filter works, if you've never used it before, watch my video on the higher order functions, the filter, for each, and reduce methods in my Swift series, and then come back here when you understand filter, so you can fully grasp what it is that we're doing here. All right, now, one thing we need to do is we need to append both of our sections. So we have main here, and we need to get rid of that. All right, so let's go into this array of sections. Instead of appending main, we will append our all right. So we'll append dot dynamic colors, comma, dot static colors. So now we have both of our sections appended, and what this basically is saying is that, okay, you want two sections where the dynamic colors section is the first section, and then the static colors section is the second section. All right, now the last thing that we need to do is we need to append items to a specific section. All right, so what we'll do here is we'll say, instead of colors, so instead of adding all of the colors to a snapshot in one go for one section, what we'll do is we will pass in dynamic colors, comma, to section, and we'll say dot dynamic colors. All right, so then we'll say snapshot append items, and we want to append our static colors to the static colors section. And we're done. That's it. It's as simple as that. Let's go ahead and run our code now. And we have a successful build. Here we go. So you can see, visually speaking, all of our colors here are split into two sections. So I can go through all of these colors here. And then there's our visual separation between the sections. All right, so that pretty much does it for this video, guys, on how you can use multiple sections in your UICollectionViewDiffableDataSource. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.